Well, let's welcome everybody to the Coaches in the Mouth pod. Coach Jeff Williams here along with Coach Bray Cook. The Mouth is on assignment again. Talked to him today. I think he's down at Warren, headed to Cabot, getting ready for playoffs. I mean, the Mouth's fired up. The Hogs won last week in overtime. It's playoff time, and I tell you what, when it gets playoff time, man, it's either get busy living or get busy dying. And big beat. Great show today. We got Coach Matt Zimmerman coming on, talk a little Hogs basketball. Obviously, Coach Fimple with her picks, and we'll bring on the Triple Crown, talk a little bit about NFL and college. Well, let's recap last week, Coach Bray. We were sitting there going to Florida, and me and you were talking here about this time last week, thinking how many we were going to score, and we put out the old 17-24. You go back and look. One thing that really stood out, everybody wanted to see the offense. Looks like kind of what we predicted a little bit. They kind of got back to doing some of the things they did last year as far as RPOs, a lot of tempo. KJ came out and ran the football well. Had Rocket back also, did a great job of getting him being back was real solid. Had some great runs. Defensively, probably wasn't our best performance, but I can't complain about those guys at all. And it was the first time all year I saw the offense pick up the defense. What was your take? I know Coach Pittman was extremely excited after the game. First time ever the Hogs have gone to Florida and won, which that's a big achievement. And, man, we still got a lot of ball left to play here. What was your take on Saturday's game?
Well, Brooks Ellis called it last week on the show. He said, you want the win. I got that. That's it. Go down there, execute, and do something special. Like you said, never been done before in Gainesville. So that's huge for Coach Pittman. But the biggest takeaway, I think, for Arkansas fans is this offense, they jumped on board with the coaching change. And to have that big and drastic of a change in the middle of a season, and then to come out and win immediately afterwards, I think it's huge. It's a huge response by the offense and by the team.
Well, it was. You could see the spirit back, and it's just funny. And and coaches got to push the right buttons. Coach Pittman did, making the change and all that part. You could see a more spirited group. I thought our offensive line really, I don't know if we simplified things. We're running, counter and zone, same stuff we've been running, but it looks like we really just went in and focused on those two things and executed really well. You've been to Florida before, and you know how tough it is to win down there. Not only did we win the game, we had to beat the referees also. There's some really crazy calls in that game. But I tell you what, let's get into – they got Auburn coming at home. They got to feel good about coming off a big road victory. Auburn's a little bit up and down. They early in the year, they were really solid defense. You're going to see a great defense. Offensively, they kind of come on. Hugh Freeze his bunch has always been able to score points. Hugh Freeze came into Arkansas last year at Liberty and beat Arkansas. Right. What do you want to see? What do you think you're going to see this Saturday?
Well, the first thing I want to see is the fans. I want to see the fans out there in the stands and making some noise and helping this team win a game at home that feels like a home game. We've been in a little bit of a rut, got a little change of pace, a little bit of tempo here coming at us. So I want to see people show up and create a difference in this ball game, because there's been ball games that I've been a part of where the stands and the people in the stands do make a difference. And so, offensively, defensively, and as far as the football game goes, I just want to see us build. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Go out there, buy into what we're doing, and give us a little bit of effort. But I want to see the people show up.
I heard Zach Watson, head coach of the Elkins. We had him on earlier this year, and he talked about stacking days. Stacking days, and that's kind of what they had an off week and got 2 weeks to stack days. Going into Auburn, and man, they still got a chance to finish this thing out right. Oh, yeah. And that's you're remembered for what you do in November. There's no doubt about that. And finishing strong will be real key. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's change a little bit, and we'll get back into football. We're going to go ahead and bring on Coach Zimmerman for the University of Arkansas Razorbacks basketball. Talk a little Hog basketball. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Our BSN guest, Coach Matt Zimmerman. Z, good to see you, man. The Hogs have been rolling. I got to see them in the against Purdue and then Alcorn State, man. Let's get into this thing. We had Coach on earlier, and I've talked to Coach a little bit here and there, and you can tell the staff really likes this team. I mean, the work ethic, you hear those things, and the way they're doing in practice, and I know you go to a lot of practice and everything. What do you see? Let's kind of narrow it down. And every team, and you've been doing this a while, every team that Coach has had has been different. I mean, you can go back when he started here all the way through. Yep. What do you see early on in this team that's different than those other teams?
I think that those other teams have all taken a little bit of time to come together, right? And it's been a lot of different players that haven't played together. And it's still a team sport. You have to mesh. You got to gel together. You have to know where each other's going and how they're getting there and how they're moving and what they like to do. And sometimes that's harder to do when you have younger guys. And we've had some teams that have had some older guys in the past, but this one is a lot of older guys. This is 9 guys, Coach Williams, they're in their 4th, 5th, or 6th year of college. You got 13 on scholarship, and 9 of those 13 are in their 4th, 5th, or 6th year. That's an old basketball team, and I don't think Coach has got anything against freshmen. He's always going to sign a couple really good freshmen a year, 2 or 3. I think he's always going to try to get a Bobby Portis or a Moses Moody or a Jalen Williams. He's going to take those kind of guys. He's not going to take as many that he thinks he's going to have to really grow and develop and get there over like you did back in the old days where you'd sign and, you knew that Bray Cook was going to come in, you're going to redshirt him a year, and then you're going to work him. And then his sophomore year, he's going to be playing, his redshirt sophomore year, he's going to be playing more. And then his redshirt junior year and his redshirt senior year, he's key to everything. Must not don't quite have the patience to stretch it out quite that long. And so I just think it's a team that has come together pretty quick because they're older, they're experienced. Coach Musselman is really good to me with older guys that are on their last leg, their last chance. And L. Ellis, who last year was on a team at Louisville that went 4-28. He's a darn good player. They weren't very good. He was about all they had. Now he's got a new lease on life. He's in one of the top programs in the country. It's rejuvenated him, and it's made him a better player. That was the same way with Jalen Tate, or that was the same way with Audish Tony, and a lot of guys like that have come in. Trey Wade, they got a new lease, a new opportunity. Stanley Umude, and those guys come in with a new opportunity, and they make the best of it. And so you mesh all that. Now, it's hard to mesh all that together, but he does it seamlessly. He really does. We've had bumps in the road his first 4 years every once in a while in November. At Jalen Williams, that year they got lost to Hofstra and to OU, and their bumps in the road were in December. The year before that, Jalen and Devo's freshman year, the bumps in the road were in early January, right? So there's been some times. But this one, there may not be too many bumps in the road. They're older, they're experienced, they lean on each other. They seem like they like each other. I was at practice today, and they were going very hard, I thought. And you've been to practices. It's not a big scrimmage. It's not a whole lot of scrimmage. It's not a as you say in football, it's not a lot of good on good all the time. You're not going to go to one of his practices and watch an hour and a half of Devo going against L. Ellis in 5-on-5 full court. But you see extreme breakdown. You see every little detail covered. You see great drill work. And they'll do some 5-on-5 here and there and mix it in. They do a lot of 5-on GAs and managers where they can really work good on kind of a scout team, a little bit of a poor man scout team. And they do a whole lot of work with that. And he's got about 12 or 13 guys, and they just wear out those GAs. They wear them out.
About to say.
And so they build confidence, and they feel good about themselves, and they can roll. It's really going to be fun to watch this team.
Well, and I think so. And Coach talked about interchangeable parts when we had him on earlier. Being able to put this guy in, and everybody does something a little bit different. Talk to us, and I thought was a huge blow last year with Brazil going down. With ACL. And after, going into the tournament, we had, holiday tournament there in Maui last year, just blew it up. And getting him back, going back to last year, I'm jumping around here, but going back to last year, once he got hurt, we looked a little lost. He brings so much to the table as far as shot blocking, as far as being able to stretch the defense, shoot the three. How valuable getting him back, and how it is how is he with this team?
Well, it's just like an added bonus. It's such a big deal to get him back. And, last year you had to learn to play without him. You still make the Sweet 16. Last year's team, you could do a study on them and ups and downs and all arounds and life of a team. And, it was such a talented team, 4 guys from that team now in the NBA, but we finished 10th in a 14-team league. And we're so close in a lot of games and lost. And it was frustration for the team. And then all of a sudden you put it together, you beat Kansas, the defending national champ, you make the Sweet 16, and all that promise that you knew you had, it finally came to fruition. And it was kind of like how we played in Maui in November was really good. And then how we played in the NCAA tournament in March was really, really good. It was kind of the stuff in the middle that was a mixed bag. And I think with Trevin back and hopefully, knock on wood, staying healthy all the way through, that this is a guy that last year was averaging 12 and 6. He was blocking 1.5 shots a game. All the intangibles he brings, stretching the floor out. He can pass. He's a pretty good ball handler. He's an excellent off-the-ball defensive guy, blocking shots, changing shots, altering shots. That he's going to help this team. That's an NBA player.
Oh,
that
no
is an
doubt.
NBA player on your roster, and so you need him to play. And we need a big year out of Trevin. And he's got great guards around him, and he's got some other bigs like Jalen Graham and Mekhi Mitchell and Chandler Lawson. Those guys are going to help him get through it, and it's so good to have him back. I know Coach Musselman is just man, to lose him and now to get him back, it's a great thing.
Oh, it is, and you could tell when he went out, just a difference and what a difference maker that guy is.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Cook here is going to ask you a question. I believe we're going to talk about, we got Gardner, obviously, and we'll get into Gardner Webb here in a little bit, but a little bit, we got a big tournament coming up in the Bahamas. Go ahead, Coach Cook.
Coach, obviously, as an insider, you're around it every single day, and you see some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I know you do a great job. You cover a lot of it on your podcast. One question I have is, Coach Musselman seems to do an incredible job with his pregame speeches. And and all I see is some outlandish clips on Twitter, and there seems to be gimmicks involved. What is it about his pregame speeches you think that works so well to get these guys playing like they do?
He has a really good staff behind him, and those guys do a good job of whether it's Ruda or Caleb Klein, or of course the assistant coaches, Coach Smart and his son Michael. Those are good guys as far as thinking through things, having a plan. And then he listens to them, and they will sit down, and in their meetings, they formulate what's going to be our theme. What are we going to do to get these guys' attention? He's so adamant about not being the same old. I'm going to talk to them today the same I talked to them yesterday. And it's always something behind it. There's always reasoning behind it. And even like at the beginning of practice when they go watch film, I'm not in there every day, but when I'm there, I like it because every day is like a different theme. And he's going to get them over there on the TV on the side of the court. And he's going to, at first, it'll be something you're like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Where's he going with this? And he'll tie it all into something. It goes back to the old days of football teams watching, lions and tigers eat their, prey and all that stuff. He has a lot of different ideas, and I think he gets a lot of that from the staff. A lot of it's marketing. A lot of it is things they feel like are going to motivate these players. One thing he ties a lot to, he does this in June, he does it in July, he does it in January, he does it in February. When he's talking to our guys, especially on the practice floor, when he brings them in together and he's talking to them, this might be during practice, this might be at the end of practice, it might be over by the TV. And when he starts practice, he's talking to them. He talks to them like young men, and he talks to them. He ties a lot to the NBA, and he really does. And so, like, I know, I worked for Coach Anderson for 17 years. I'd worked for Nolan Richardson, and they would always be like, we want you to make the NBA, but we don't know if you're going to make it. We're not NBA coaches. We want you to get there. It was a different approach. And so we didn't spend as much time talking NBA, because we weren't sure that, that Ricky Scott or Mardregas Wade or BJ Young or Kai Madden or Landis Harris, if they were going to make the NBA. And so we had to be cognizant of that. And his is, I'm going to do, if you listen, if you'll do what I say, and if you will pay attention, and if you'll work on your game, you will have a chance. You will have an opportunity to play in the NBA. Now, I've never heard him tell a player, you are going to make the NBA. You're going to be there. Don't worry about it. I'm sure he may tell some of them that privately, but he doesn't tell them that in front of the team. But he preaches that. He preaches that if you do this and you do it right and you do it well and you continue to work and you live in this gym and you stay in this gym and you stay in it more than you think you've ever stayed, that you have that opportunity to go play in the NBA. And then he puts it together by saying, if you try to do it on your own, if you try to do it without the team, you're not going to make it, and we're not going to win as much. And the more we win, the more we're successful, the better your opportunity to make it to the NBA. So it is very NBA driven. People ask me, is it all NIL driven? No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, Arkansas basketball's got name, image, and likeness. Absolutely. I would be doing our school a disservice if I said we didn't, because, we want kids to have great opportunity when they come here and go to school and be able to make money besides their scholarship and their tuition and everything. We want them to be able to make name, image, and likeness money to help them. You got to have players. You got to have great players. And the more name, image, and likeness they can get, the better player you can get. And so I don't hear Coach talking name, image, and likeness. I hear him talking NBA and team. And he spends a lot of time with that. And I think Jalen would tell you that, Coach. That's kind of what he pushes, and it makes those guys motivated that they can make it.
There's no doubt. Let's get into this, and that's a great question, but let's get into this. We got Gardner Webb, Friday, but we got a tournament, and we have fortunate enough that we can look ahead and look down the road a little bit. Talk to us about that Thanksgiving tournament and how valuable that is, getting, going on the road, getting away and playing tough competition. Talk to us a little bit how that's going to set up for us.
Well, it's going to be pretty good. It's kind of like Maui last year, where you go and you get 3 really good games. And last year we got over there, and I think back that the tough, hard-fought game against San Diego State or smacking Louisville, those were fun times. The team kind of bonds together. They're somewhere different than just being in Fayetteville, and they really can grow from that as a team. And this will be a great opportunity. I've never been to the Bahamas ever, so I don't know much about how the setup of the tournament, but I do know that we play Stanford first. Stanford has been down. Now, they've got a couple talented young kids. Overall, Stanford basketball has been down. And so, but they'll come in. It's going to be smart kids, going to be pretty tough kids. And they're going to come in, and we play them first. We'll leave on a Monday. I think it's the 20th of this month. And we play the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Hopefully knock off Stanford. And then the second game, you're going to play Michigan or Memphis. So either way, you're going to get a second opponent that's they're both going to be pretty good. I don't think either one of them are necessarily better than Arkansas, but Michigan and Memphis will both have good enough players that if we don't play well, they will be able to beat us. So we'll have to play well. And then, North Carolina's there and Villanova's there. So there's pretty good teams. I don't know. Villanova had such a great stretch, and they won those 2 national championships in 3 years. And Jay Wright kind of shocked everybody by saying, it's different. NIL's different. The portal's different. I've won a couple national championships. I'm not that old, but see you later. I'm going to ride off and go sit on a TV set. Not too bad, right? And so he left the game and shocked everybody. One of his assistants has got the job, so they're in a different spot. North Carolina's been down the last couple of years, but it's still North Carolina. Northern Iowa is there. Texas Tech is there on that other side of the bracket. So it'll be interesting. It'll be 4 good games, and I think our program is to the point, Coach Williams, that Coach is trying to go there to win. I know when we came back from Maui, we had beat San Diego State in that 3rd place game, and I was very, very happy that we'd won 2 out of 3 games in Maui. I think Coach was happy but not happy because he wasn't the one that won the championship, and Arizona did. And I think that he was like, I came over here to win this thing. And so I think he's going to the Bahamas thinking, I want. We had a team in our league last year that won it, Tennessee. And so there's been some really good games historically in this tournament in the Bahamas. And so we need to go there and play well. And I think that he'll have them ready. We've got these games here at home. We got 4 games at home before we go. Alcorn, who we just beat, as you said, Gardner, Webb. We got Old Dominion, and then we got UNC Greensboro. So we should be 4-0. every game is different. You got to show up. But I'm not ever going to sit here and tell you we're going to lose to Greensboro. They might. Yeah, if we play real bad, they can beat us. But we should be 4-0. You go play those 3 games, and then you come home and you got Duke on the second to last day of the month. So it's a good November for the Hogs.
Oh, no doubt. And boy, it'd be really cool, if Memphis, we got to play them the second round, just the history there. You're
Yes.
involved in those great games.
Yeah.
We used to play them. Coach Richardson was there, and what a
Coach Richardson, he wanted to play Memphis every year, 2 or 3 times a year if he could. Of course, he lived in Memphis recruiting. It was a different era, but he was getting high school kids, and he wanted those kids out of Memphis. He always wanted their best players, and so he did everything he could to schedule them all the time.
Well, I'm sure he went to Hamilton High a few times over there. Got a few pretty good players over there out of there, Todd Day and all those guys. Well, let's get into this. Z, is just a few more questions. We'll get you off here. We know you're a busy man. Break down Gardner Webb for us, and what are you looking for? What's Coach looking for in that game? I mean, obviously we're going to be a heavy favorite, but what is Coach looking for? What do you want to see from the team?
Well, we played Gardner Webb. I think it was 21-22 season. We played him at Bud Walton, and we beat him. I think it was 86-69 or something like that. It was a game we were up a bunch, and we ended up winning by maybe a little less than 20. But they will be a little bit. I would think, Coach, they'll be a little bit better than Alcorn. Now, their guards, kind of looking at them, they're probably not as quick. Alcorn had some quick, tough kids, and with these guys, Gardner Webb will be a little bit different. Maybe not quite as quick, but they'll be very fundamentally sound guards that can, if they get open, they're going to shoot it better than Alcorn did. I do think that their issue will be being able to get open shots and being able to score against Arkansas. So that'll be interesting to see. This is a team that comes out of North Carolina. Most of their roster is North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia. That's where their players are from over there. So East Coast type team, but not city kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it'll be really interesting to see on Friday night. This is a big atmosphere for them to come in. And, really, I thought Alcorn Alcorn's best player didn't play. They wouldn't have beat us, but he was our preseason conference player of the year. And when I found out he wasn't playing, I thought, we're going to just kill these guys. And they kind of, game wasn't really in doubt. It was 10-4, it was 20-6 or something, but it never became that 40-point game, or, they kind of hang around. And for Gardner Webb, I think that they would just have to really just throw up all kinds of crazy shots to even hang in there. They come out of the Big South Conference, which is a good little basketball league. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they can do against Arkansas's pressure. I think this is a game that Coach is just going to hammer pressure defense, and they might even throw a little press on them and just try to make life miserable. That defense that the Hogs played against Purdue was so good. The defense we played against Alcorn was really good but it was probably a little bit lesser than the Purdue. We locked down Purdue so good. And so it'll be interesting. I'm a big believer in it's taken Coach Muss and them a couple years to fall into this belief, but I've always thought that Friday nights before a football game is really good. You can't do it too early, like in October, because then you got high school football. But now as you get into this part, you got teams in high school that aren't playing anymore. And so you can really get a good crowd on a Friday night before a Razorback football game.
Oh, I think so. Last question here is, which we all know this. I don't think anybody in Arkansas does. If you don't play defense, you ain't going to play for Coach Muss. That's number one priority. We've had struggles in the past, sometimes scoring. It looks like we got a couple of guys in here that can close a game for us. Talk to us about a couple of those guys that could come out and, close we got 3 minutes to go, and we got to, wind it down and make a good shot and make the right play. Talk to us about a couple of guys you can see doing that this year.
They're standing in line, like fighting to take that last shot. Tremont Mark wants to take it. The late Reggie Chaney, who played here for 2 years, last time I talked to him before he passed was about Tremont Mark, and I wanted to hear what he said about Tremont, and he was like, he's a guy, Coach. He can shoot. He's tough. He's a good athlete. got this great mid-range shot, but he'll always want to take the big shot, whether it's end of a shot clock, end of a game. And there we are. We hadn't even made it to the first regular season game. You're down 3 to Purdue. He comes to rubs off a little screen going left, and he drills a tough three-pointer to tie the game and eventually send it to overtime. And I thought about Reggie Chaney saying that. And L. Ellis, he wants to take the last shot as well. We've seen Devo take some important last shots. So those 3 guards will all be willing. And don't forget about Trevin Brazil.
Yes, sir.
Again, that's an NBA guy sitting there. He's going to want to take some big shots at the end of ball games that are important. So, and then if he's got Jeremiah Davenport out there, who hadn't gotten hot yet as I've seen him in practice, Coach, he can flat out shoot. And if Davenport touches that ball at the end of a game, he's going to shoot it. And so there's a lot of guys that are willing, and that's important. No one's going to shy away from it. I do like the fact you got guys like Tremont and Devo and L that can all put the ball on the floor and drive it. They don't necessarily just have to shoot a 23-footer to try to win a game. They can go make a play by attacking. And I hadn't even mentioned our leading scorer at the present time, Khalif Battle, who's going by Caliph now, Caliph Battle. And he scored 21 points the other night against Alcorn. He can really heat up, and typical Coach Musselman, he's found the role and where he wants that guy already. Even if this isn't no figured out in January or figured out in December, he figured it out October, early November. I want him coming off the bench. He's going to flat outscore this basketball. He is instant offense off the bench. You're going to love Battle, Coach. I know you've seen him. But our fans are going to love Battle. He can really score it.
Well, I tell you what, there is all tons of excitement. I mean, at the Purdue game, we've seen that this year. Where the exhibition games, we'd play UCA or something, or somebody, and bringing Purdue in. But Tennessee, they had a big exhibition game. Do you think down the road we're going to see more of that? 2 big teams.
Yeah. So Coach Musselman were one of the first ones really to figure it, because when I was coaching, you had to play a D2, a D3, or an NAI in an exhibition game. And if you wanted to play another D1, you could, but it had to be a closed scrimmage. You had to bring them in, no fans allowed. So if you wanted to play a UCLA or a Notre Dame or a Purdue, you had to bring them in. Nobody could watch. And then Arkansas wasn't the first one to do it. Kansas and Missouri did it. They were one of the first ones, and they did it for charity. And the NCAA approved it. And, the NCAA approves a lot more than they did when Bray Cook was lining up for the Razorbacks. It's just a much more charitable type deal now. They're much more likely to do different things to suit people. And the NCAA started figuring out, hey, this isn't hurting us, and this is helping a lot of very worthwhile causes. So Kansas, Missouri did it, and then it's just been kind of more and more people have done it. Last year was the first time we did it when we went to Texas. So now you get to play a really good opponent, and you raise money. Now, we can keep a little small amount for the expenses of running the game. It's like a benefit game in high school. And then your other money goes to the charity. And so it's watched pretty good, and it's a great cause. And I think every year now you'll see us doing that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Coach Z, we appreciate you coming on, man. I'll probably maybe see you tomorrow night over there, and we'll be getting after it. And, man, I tell you what, the excitement over Hogs basketball right now, man, it's up there really high, and we're looking forward to a great season. We'll have you on, of course, numerous times during the year, and look forward to watching them on Friday. Appreciate you coming on.
No problem, Coach. Anytime you need me, Bray, good to see you.
Yes, sir. Great to see you.
Thank you very much. So look forward to being on with you again.
All right, see you, Z.
Okay.
Well, Bray, I tell you what, Coach Z, you can tell the excitement about Razorback basketball. Everybody you talk to, the enthusiasm about this basketball team. We had Coach Muss on, and you can tell their excitement about it and about the team. Mm-hmm. I mean, what was your take listening to Coach Z?
I mean, everyone we've talked to, and Coach Z included, we've got the players. He talked about we have the experience and the leadership, and then we have the coaches and we have the fans behind it. So it's almost like we got a really good thing going. And like you said, are we going to be able to navigate those speed bumps, and will there be less of them this year?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, let's switch our focus here. It's playoff time in high school football, and I love some playoff time. Let's go ahead and bring him on, our BSN guest, Coach Daryl Fimple. Let's bring on our BSN Picker of the Week again, Coach Daryl Fimple. Coach Fimp, I tell you what, I'm almost embarrassed. Went with my heart last week.
That's what happened. That's what happens when you go with your heart. Go with your love for teams, like neighborhoods, coaches. I don't know what we were thinking. It was god awful. I mean, we cost people. If there was a betting line, we cost a lot of people money last week.
There's no doubt. But let's recap. We got through this game on late. Last week was the Arkadelphia-Malvern game. And
golly, what happened there?
I have no earthly idea. Arkadelphia goes in and wins. Now we got a setup. Looks like in the second round with Harding Academy and Malvern, who played for the state championship last year. I mean, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah, AAA's happy about that gate. They're happy about that matchup early. Yeah. They're going to be happy about that.
You were at the Bryant Conway game. Break that down a little bit for us.
That was a tale of two halves, to tell you the truth. The second half, I mean, the offensive line from Bryant was phenomenal. They started running the football, and I'm telling you, it was, they found a mismatch on the outside, started throwing it up in the air, and it got ugly fast. I mean, really, really fast.
Yeah, Bryant's got a very good team. Conway will bounce back, make a big long run. But let's go down to South Arkansas, too. Mineral Springs and Murphysboro. Double overtime. Did you see over?
They sold 2,200 tickets, and if you put the population signs together, it's a perfect 2,200. Everybody there was at the Mineral Springs game.
Well,
everybody. Mineral Springs and Murphysboro. It's unbelievable. And I didn't even know, but the coach at Murphysboro, 2 years ago they were 3-7.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's turned that place around, man. He's used the I wonder how many plays they've got with diamond in it. There's got to be. Do they run the diamond tee? I mean, you just got to line up in it every once in a while. Well, no, that was an unbelievable game. And now both of them are tied as the number one scoring defenses. Both are giving up 6 after the 12-6 overtime game.
Oh my God! Well, then you got Greenwood, and I watched that one. Was you really broke that down from for the last 2 minutes of the second quarter to the first minute of the third. That got blown over. Greenwood taking care of Little Rock Christian.
And and the Little Rock Christian's coach had had a great article about how the importance of athletics. And I'm sure when he went to Greenwood, he's seen the importance that put on display there, especially when you score and there's a light show like Alabama. I mean, there's lights blinking left and right. I mean, it's the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life. So I'm sure he got a firsthand picture of how important athletics is, especially in Arkansas.
No doubt. Well, let's get into. You got some awards and some top fives here this week.
I'm telling you what's happened here. The weather has changed, fellas. All right, because last week everybody started doing what? They started toting the mail, baby. I mean, they were bringing it inside the tackles. We had almost 12 kids rush for over 150 yards last week. I mean, from numerous places. I mean, you had Bo Williams at Shiloh went for 167 and 3 TDs. You had Cade McBride, the quarterback from Arkadelphia. He had 154 yards on 12 carries and 3 TDs, and he did multiple things. Grady Oman, his last name's Oman, from Hot Springs Lakeside had 29 carries for 182 yards and 3 TDs. I mean, it's just one after the other. Of course, you go into the Bryant game, the Martin kid had 18 carries for 192 yards and 2 TDs. So, I mean, it's unbelievable performances last week. And then you had the quarterbacks in Arkansas. It's like a video game. The Lindsay kid was 25 of 28, first of all. 25 of 28. That means he threw 3 on the ground. Or maybe somebody dropped him. I don't know. That's amazing. 335 yards and 7 touchdowns. All right. I mean, go Gophers. I don't even know if the Gophers throw it. I mean, I don't even know if I've watched PJ Fleck enough to know if they throw it very much, but he's going to change things up there. Kane Archer went over 281 and 4 TDs. Bryce Perkins from Van Buren threw for almost 400 yards last week, even though I don't like mentioning Van Buren too much, but he did have a heck of a performance. And then you had Carter Nye come back for Bentonville. He went 22 of 25, 3 incompletions, 340 yards and 3 TDs, and I guess he just turned around and told that sophomore to hold his helmet when he was done throwing touchdowns because they were on fire. But they had some huge performances last week. You could tell the importance of the games, and of course, we had our worst picking week of all time last week.
Every time I'd pull it up, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on? This or that."
Yeah.
I kind of went with some upsets, and the only body got upset was me. I mean, that was about it.
You did.
I went with some upsets,
it was tragic.
It was, and there was some dirty text. I mean, some nasty text sent out, after some of those games.
Yeah, I got some slippage. I just told them that Mineral Springs was playing the long game. We were just going to try to get opposite Murphysboro. We were just going to meet them up later on down the line. That's what we were trying to do.
Meet them up.
Tell you another team that's just destroying folks there at the end of the year after the Ozark is Elkins.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got a path. They got a path, man.
They are rolling up in there.
Zach's got them going. Do we have a top 5 again this week?
My top 5 this week, because I went big school here. I got this right here, baby. Harvey Patriots. That's my number 1 team right there. The Patriots. The Bowden boys have got it figured out. I mean, they're rolling right now. And they got to play Alma Thursday night. And I just asked them to be just be nice, because I think the speed is unbelievable. My number 2 team is Bryant. I think Bryant showed up last week that they're definitely the number 2 team. Then I like 3. I like Fayetteville. Greenwood's my 4. My 5 is Conway. So that rounded out my 5. My little schools, hey, man, I like the Elkins. I like Elkins a lot. I think you've got Prescott still down there. I think you got some top 5 teams down there in the little classifications that we just got to love. And you're going to talk about playoff time, too.
Oh,
I mean, those guys are home. I mean, if everybody's going to be there, it's going to be awesome. Awesome.
Well, let's get into our picks.
I can't believe that helmet fit.
I love it. That's pretty nice. The Bowden boys letting you have that. I mean.
Yeah, it was nice of them to let me have that. I had to buy them guys in there. Yeah, that is an exquisite helmet right now.
Well, they at least,
and I would probably have to line up as like their left tackle maybe because they're so fast. It's unbelievable.
No doubt. Well, let's get in here. It's playoff time, and anybody that loves playoff time, it's Coach Williams. I think I just love playoffs. I mean, you get an opportunity, you get one shot.
Oh. Every game's loser leave home, man.
It is, man.
You got guys with bummed up ankles and bad popped out shoulders, and they're playing for their communities. Hey, this is the real time of the year right here.
This is it, man. And it's exciting. There's nothing better to go warm up when it's already dark outside. It's something special going
on. Football in the air, man.
It's
awesome.
It's awesome. Well, let's get into it. Let's do this one right here, and let's discuss this one. Battle of the Ravine. We're a little off high school here. Battle of the Ravine this week. Henderson State going over to Ouachita. We all know I've actually been a part of this. And, who you liking this one?
Well, this one's interesting because it's like it always happens there'll be like a run of 6 wins by somebody, and then there's 6 wins by somebody else. So it's always the craziest thing in the world. And of course, everybody in Arkadelphia is there. Do they still walk over?
Oh yeah. They
still do the walkover, right?
We're walking.
I didn't think you couldn't get rid of the walkover right there. So these guys are walking across the street, for God's sakes. I mean, what an unbelievable rivalry we have right here in the state of Arkansas. That's amazing. And nothing like Division II football. And then you've got 2 unbelievable coaches that's done an unbelievable job. But in this game, all right, and with all my picks last week, I think everybody's doubting me right now. But I'm going OBU in this one. I know that hurts your heart, but you never know what happened to our hearts last week.
Right. Well,
I got to mention. But I'm going with Ouachita Baptist Coach Knight.
Well, the Mouse going with the Tigers. Grandma Na's going with the Tigers. Please do not take my lifetime pass, but I'm going to have to go with the Tigers also. It just kills me.
I thought you were going to break down in some old-time glory.
Well,
that old-time glory,
Well, I'm going to have to go with the Tigers because I'm not going with I'm not going with my heart. I'm going to go with I'm going to win here this week. All right, I think this is one of the toughest games we got this week. Mark Tree, who lost last week in overtime, headed to Hazen, who lost to the Carlisle Bisons. Hazen's defending state champions. I think this game, I've been back and forth, talked to everybody about this game. The Mouth is going to take Hazen. Grandma Na is going to take Mark Tree. I'm going to take Mark Tree. I just on the road, I know, but I feel like they can get this done. Big upset here. Who you like? Break it down.
Man, what a matchup right out the bat right there. That's what happens, though. It's playoff football, buddy. Never know, man. That's why we play 10 games. Mark Tree, 7-2, 5-2 in their league. Hazen's 9-1 and 6-0 in their they were. They've given up 116 points, Hazen has. The funny thing is Mark Tree scored over 400 points this year. Hazen scored 424 points. So I don't know. This is a weird game. Let me tell you about Hazen too, though. There's a restaurant called Murray's Restaurant.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God. The best fish fryer in America is right there, man. If you get there early, it opens at 5:00. I'd swing by there and get me a plate of fish and I'd go watch this game. It'd be a phenomenal game to watch. But I'm going to take Hazen at home.
Going with Hazen.
I think Hazen's been in the finals. They've been through some tough games. Tough game last week. I think they're going to find a way to win this.
And they're at home. All right, well, let's go.
And they're at home.
Let's go here. We got McGee at Bauxite. Bauxite's team we hadn't talked a whole lot about, but they've continued to win. They've done a great job over there. Got a great, Arkansas Razorback signee playing for those guys at Bauxite. The Mouth is going to take Bauxite. Grandma Na is taking Bauxite. Coach Williams is going to take Bauxite. Break this one down for me.
Well, Marcus Wimberly is the guy that's going to the Razorbacks. Last week he had 10 carries for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bauxite's giving up 25 points a game. They're scoring over 35 points a game. They are at home in the old mine shaft.
Yes, sir.
All right. The old mine shaft. There might be even a little spotting of Dan Dawson running around there. Maybe we can reach back into our bag, put our minor helmet on there. You see my minor light? My minor light's blinding everybody there. Now put your minor lights on that night. I'm going to take Bauxite over McGee in this one.
I think so, too. All right, another interesting matchup. We got team out of the Central, 5A Central, and team out of the 5A East. Got Joe T. Robinson at Batesville Southside. Joe T. Was a young team, got beat by Mills, got beat by Pine Bluff. Batesville Southside with a loss to Valley View a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to go with Robinson just because I think they've been there, even though they're young. Coach Escola's been there, and I'm going to go with Robinson. The Mouth is going to go with Batesville Southside, and Grandma Na is going with Batesville Southside also. Break this down. This is a tough one to pick, too.
So is Robinson going to Batesville?
I believe so. Yep, Batesville Southside.
I think so, too. Remember, we're trying to pass that millage down there in Batesville.
That's what we got that playoff game. We got that playoff game.
Now we got playoff people coming in to check it out. I think this game's going to be could be a kind of a lower scoring game. I know that's going to kind of surprise some people, but I think this is going to be kind of a tight game right here. Joe T's coming off of a loss. Batesville, they had their stride going, lost a big game there, kind of clipped them there. But I think that Joe T going to Batesville. Like I said, they've been through this. It's Batesville's first, kind of trip into this kind of territory. So I'm going to take Joe T. Robinson in this one.
Joe T. Robinson. All right, here we go. We got Harrison at Lakeside, the next one. This one here, Harrison's been up here in the West, been pretty, had a pretty good year this year. Had some ups and downs, lost to Farmington.
And they're pounding people.
But they are running the football.
Really good.
And then Lakeside comes up last week with a huge win over the crosstown rival Hot Springs. They've played well. They're pretty hot also. I'm going to go with Harrison. Grandma Na is going with Lakeside. The Mouth is going with Harrison also. Who do you like in this one?
Well, Harrison's got a tailback named Brandon Long. He rushed 17 times for 171 yards last week. He was part of our Pony Express team member last week. He had 3 TDs. He's over 1,800 yards rushing.
Wow.
So they're going to give this guy the ball quite a bit. He's almost 29 TDs on the year, 226 carries. Now, here's the funny thing, though, is Harrison's given up 27 points still in all their ball games this year. Last week they won 42-20. Lakeside kind of shocked all of us. Once again, our guy Hot Springs, we went on the road, I think, and I don't know what happened there. But they've got really talented players. Kyler Wolf, his wide receiver's got 38 catches for 811 yards. Got a really good quarterback, Jacob Hermosilo, which I might be screwing that name up. But he's thrown for over 2,200 yards, 21 TDs. They're giving up 29 points a night, scoring 33 a clip. They had a running back last week that went off on Hot Springs, 29 carries for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns from Grady Oman. Oman is his name. They had another guy. This is a great defensive name, too. Max Story. You can't make this stuff up. Lakeside, Hot Springs Lakeside. His parents knew he was going to be able to play football. They named him Max Story. He had 4 tackles, 4 pass deflections, and 1 fumble recovery for Lakeside last week. And I think that was the big thing. Lakeside got some costly, or Hot Springs turned it over, and Lakeside took advantage of that. Harrison is going to travel. They're used to traveling long distances, and that's going to be huge, playing in the West. But you never know. You know, Jacob Reynolds is down there on that defensive side at Lakeside. I think he's going to come up with some plan. So I'm going to take Hot Springs Lakeside at home.
I could see that one going either way. Both of them got very good football teams.
And that could be like one turnover. Yeah, one turnover there, flips it around, and you know how that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Momentum's hard to get back once you lose.
Especially in the playoffs. All right, this is
Especially the playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs.
This is one I think is very interesting. I've actually talked to both coaches. Fairview at Farmington. Farmington gets the number 1 seed out of the West because they upset Shiloh, obviously, and they've done their work. Fairview's been up and down. You know, got beat by Parkview, played them decent for a half the other night, and Nick Vaughn and them got them going on also. And Fairview has traveled to Booneville this year. He's prepared them for this moment. The Mouth is going to take Fairview. Grandma Na is going with Farmington. I'm going to let you break it down, then I'm going to make my pick because I've been back and forth on this one.
Well, Fairview is scoring the 30 points a night, giving up 21 points on the night. They got a really good quarterback, the Daryl Atkinson kid. Daryl Atkinson Jr. All right, he's a second. He's 124 of 205 for 1,900 yards, 18 touchdowns. He's got a big play threat in Trenton Haygood, 39 catches for 727 yards and 7 touchdowns. You know, they're one of those teams, too, that they're hard to figure out because if they don't turn the ball over, they're really, really good. It's the turnovers that, he usually ends up getting them. Farmington, I don't know. JR's a magician because he's on his, 4th quarterback and they do such a good job of just plugging people in. I think playing in that league helps a lot with that because I think that gives them a little bit of time to figure some things out. But, man, I think Fairview's speed and athleticism is going to get them on this one. So I'm going to take Fairview to travel to Farmington. Yeah, I'm not going to go from my heart because I'm a J.R. Eldridge fan. But they're going to travel to Farmington and beat Farmington. So I'm going to take Camden Fairview in this one. The Cardinals.
Well, that's Cardinals versus the Cardinals. I'm going to go with Farmington. And just on the fact I think J.R. Eldridge will find a way.
Figure something out.
He's figured. Right. To be honest with you, I saw him earlier this year. Quarterback goes down. Their season's messed up, and then boom, they beat Shiloh in their pair. But I'm gonna go J.R. Eldridge and Farmington Cardinals. All right, here we go. We got the new line offense, Cersei, who got destroyed last week or got beat by West Memphis.
Once again, went to her heart there.
Went with her heart on that one. Yeah, I know. But the Lions are in the playoffs, and they don't have to travel very far, and they got to go to Greenbrier, who beat Mountain Home last week to get the number 4 seed, which was a big challenge. The Mouth is going with Greenbrier. Grandma Na, who loves Zach Clark, is going with the new line offense. I'm going with Greenbrier. I think Coach Tribble him. I think
you're jumping off the hills. I like it.
Yeah, it's all about your heart this week. All about your heart. All about your heart.
There was no hesitation.
Yeah, I'm going Greenbrier in this one.
Going to go with Greenbrier, who's 5-5, 4-4 in the league play. They finished. Cersei was 6-4, 5. No, yeah, Cersei was 6-4 and 5-4 in the conference. Cersei scoring 38, giving up 34. Led in tackles by a guy named Luis Garcia. Cersei has over 100 tackles this year. Tyler Strickland's kind of the ace in the hole for Cersei, the quarterback. He makes a lot of things happen. He's very involved in the run game. They had a running back last week, Ricky Love, that made some plays. He's over 1,000 yards rushing for Cersei too. So they're doing both. They're pretty balanced that way. They're just having a hard time getting people off the field. Greenbrier got a wide receiver, Miles Miller, 66 catches, over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. It's one of these things that this game is a great playoff game.
Yes, it is.
Because it could go either way. Somebody's going to look like a pro picking this one. I'm going to take the Cersei Lions once again to travel up there and try to beat Greenbrier. I think they're going to beat Greenbrier. This is going to be another close game, though. Very, very close game. Going to come down to turnovers, whether who can take care of the football the best. But I'm going to take the Cersei Lions in this one.
It's really the last three games, which every one of them we talked about. It's going to get down to turnovers or making a play. These are
playoffs.
We're in the playoffs, baby. All right, here we go. We got a 5 seed out of the West, Mountain Home, headed to Catholic. Catholic with a huge win last week. Against Marion, break that down. Had all the injuries, got some back, and John Fogelman finds a way every year to have a good season, and he's a great playoff coach too. Mountain Home.
Yeah, hey. That's the key right there. You got to find the playoff coach.
You're looking for
because they're coaching for free this week. Their contracts are over.
That's right.
This is on the house. These guys are putting in 17-hour days getting ready for Friday night, completely free. That stipend is not covering what's happening this week.
No,
not covering.
So everybody in Arkansas, you need to know that if your team is in the playoffs, before you get mad at the coach this week or that guy worked for free all week, basically.
He's working for free.
Yeah.
The staff's working. They've been working for free for a while, that staff has.
Yeah, there's no doubt. No doubt. The mouth likes Catholic. I like Catholic, and Grandma Na likes Catholic. I think this is be a good game. Mountain Home's a very physical football team that can run the ball, but got to go to War Memorial Stadium. Catholic always plays very, very well at home. And Coach Fogelman's a great coach. Mountain Home's very well coached also. Who would break this one down?
Both teams are a lot alike. I mean, they're mirror images in a lot of ways. Personnel-wise, the same thing. They like to do the same thing, too. Catholic likes to control the clock. They like to run it. They'll go over the top every once in a while. They got a defensive end named Jackson Hatchett that's got 12 sacks on the year, so they can get after the quarterback a little bit. Chris Hubbard's probably the running back from Mountain Home that they would want to talk about. He had 31 carries last week for 139 yards and a touchdown. So they like to keep it in his hands. He actually went over. He's got 1,100 yards on the year. Cade Yates is the quarterback. He's over 2,000 yards passing this year. And they've got a wide receiver. They got to love this guy. This is another parent that thought, hey, my kid's going to play football. His name's Jet. You got to like Jet.
Yeah.
All right? Jet's got 53 catches, 884 yards, 7 touchdowns. They've also got a defensive end named Robert Dover that has 8 sacks on the year. So they can get after the quarterback too. So this is going to be at War Memorial, where everybody's trying to play to get to anyway. I mean, Catholic's got the advantage of them and Parkview both. They get to play their home games there every week, so that's pretty awesome. But I'm going to take Catholic in this one. I'm going to believe in Coach Oberman to pull them through on the playoff victory right here, and I'm going to take Little Rock Catholic.
And John Fogelman's a tough out, man, in playoffs. I've coached against him many times. He's a very, very tough out. All right, this is an interesting game. We were talking about this team earlier, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 seed hosting a playoff game. We lost a couple, struggled a little bit against Springdale last week. Southside headed over to God's country over at Jonesboro. I mean, you're going from one end of the state to the other. Jonesboro, you've actually seen Jonesboro live. The Mouth is taking.
Probably seen them play their best game.
Yeah, you did. There's
North Little Rock.
Yeah,
they played really well.
Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't believe they would, had got there. But they've gotten to 500 on the year, 4-3 in our conference play. Southside, like I said, man, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Weird. Go ahead with your pick.
All right, we got the Mouse taking Southside. Grandma Na is taking Southside. Coach Williams is going to take Southside also. I think there's too physical up front.
They are that. They're very physical up front. Last week, they won 49-42 over Springdale. Amari Tucker went over 1,600 yards rushing. He's got over almost 20 TDs. They're scoring 42 points tonight, giving up 34. Jonesboro is scoring 26 and giving up 25 a night. Chris Stacy's their wide receiver at Jonesboro. He's got 52 catches, over 900 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Mackenzie Pickett's charge from Jonesboro. He's got 181 carries, over 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns on the year. So they're pretty explosive in the running game too, as well as the throwing game. But I think Southside can score bunches of points. Sometimes I think they score too fast, though, which gets them in trouble. I think that what is the problem. And once again, can we play a couple of these tailbacks at corner? Every once in a while, just stick them in there. I don't know. Two-way player in 7A, I don't know if that happens or not. But I'm going to take Fort Smith Southside to travel on the road and beat Jonesboro.
Well, and I think Southside.
Makes for interesting second-round game.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Very interesting second-round game if this
plays out, no doubt. Last game, close to your heart, the North Little Rock Charging Wildcats headed over to Rogers. Rogers, has had a great year. They've had a great year, and
Harbison,
yeah,
Coach Harbison.
Oh man, does a phenomenal job.
Hey, this guy's literally saying, when he got there, he literally started it was like 18 sophomores or something. I mean, so they literally got in the playoffs a couple times. I remember I'm playing Conway and going to the game and thinking, this looks like a junior high team. Well, those kids have grown up. So now Rogers is something to mess with. And you can tell, once again, they have heavily got involved in athletics and spent a lot of money. And that place is on the rise, if you ask me. But it all starts with their quarterback, Dane Williams. Dane Williams has thrown for almost 2,200 yards and 26 touchdowns on the year. He has a wideout, Jeff Regan. He's got 44 catches, over 700 yards, and 8 touchdowns. They are scoring 42 points a night, which North Little Rock is not scoring 42 points a night. And they're only giving up 19, Rogers is. They've been in some shootouts. Right now, North Little Rock's struggling to score on the offensive side. Cabot held them to 14 last week. They're only scoring 22 points a night, but they're giving up 31 because their defense has just been on the field way too long. So this is going to be a hard trip for the Wildcats. I'm going to have to take Rogers at home in this one.
Well, there's some even games in this one. Could go either way, and then next week's going to be even crazier. I mean, you got a lot of rematches and things. Oh, my gosh. Man.
Oh yeah.
Well,
could be really crazy.
Well, I'm gonna get you off here. What's your plans here Friday? I mean, I know you're creeping up on that basketball season. And all that.
I don't know where I'm gonna head out to Friday. I might just pop into something and I know I'm not gonna travel to Rogers. And I'm not gonna make that trip. Probably gonna stay off that trip. I might shoot over Thursday night and watch the Little Alma Parkview just for the home sake. Maybe film the crowd. See what's her reaction.
The question is,
but that might be something we look into.
The question is, will you have the Letterman's jacket on, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have the Letterman's jacket, War Memorial.
Oh yeah, you got to have that around here somewhere.
Oh
yes.
man, you make sure.
I might even put the old bullhorn and call a play. I might check 6262 red checky. I might even call something for Rusty. Maybe give him something. Well, maybe steal some signals like Michigan on play.
Well, you got to do one thing. Yeah. You got to do one thing. Put the jacket on. Walk down the sideline. Start talking trash to the Boating boys.
That would be easily done. But Bobby always kind of scares me. His intensity kind of
He's a big guy.
Yeah. I don't think he could catch me, but yeah, his intensity kind of scares me a little bit.
Well, good deal, man. Appreciate you coming on, man. We'll be checking your work. Hey, we've only had one bad week. One bad week all year.
There's no way we could have another worse
Good
week than
Lord.
That was a really bad week.
Yeah,
really bad week.
But we're back, though. We've moved
people
on.
Ask
It's
all the time,
playoffs.
what was I thinking? You go with your heart, man. Don't go with your heart.
Don't go with your heart. By the end of the day of this, we've got through the regular season. We're playoffs. Everybody's 0-0. Here we go.
Playoffs, baby.
Playoffs, man.
Playoffs.
See you next week, Daryl.
Yeah, buddy.
Man, I tell you what, that guy, man, there's some tough games this week. I mean, just evenly matched, turnover here or there can be a big difference in a team advancing and moving on. Well, let's go ahead and do this, Bray. Let's go ahead and bring on Mr. Triple Crown. If we missed him last week, let's go ahead and bring him on, Derek, and talk a little NFL and little college football. Derek, first of all, happy 40th birthday, man. Where else would you rather spend than with me and you sitting here talking a little ball, man? Have you had a big day?
It's been a big day. It's my 40th birthday, and I guess that's what you get for we're doing this early. It's on a Wednesday night, so it's a good thing. But my wife's in there bathing the kids, and so I'd rather be talking to you than bathing the kids.
I understand. Yeah. That's right. You're working for yourself right there. I like it. Working for yourself right there.
That's right, man.
Well, let's get into it. The college football standings have come out, and I'm sitting there looking at different things, and looks like a lot of people could stamp each other out on the way to the college football playoffs. What do you like this week? I mean, boy, Oregon's been rolling big time. Coach Ultimate, they took care of Cal last week. Big win for those guys. The Hogs won last week. Everybody's extremely excited about that. What do we got? What's the big games here in college football?
So, there's some really good games this week as you go and look. I mean, a lot of ranked teams playing each other. As I look at it, I'm going to play 5 games this weekend.
Oh, all right.
And the 5 games I'm going to play, starting with Alabama at Kentucky. So Alabama's given 9.5 actually. It's moving around. Watching Alabama play last week, I thought that they looked pretty good. I think they finally are settling into Milroe at quarterback, and I think that they're finally figuring out how to use his strengths and how to use him and get people open. And they literally are just really running the ball really well with him. And if he gets in trouble, he's like a linebacker back there. So I like Alabama straight up money line in that game.
Well, and I'm with you on Alabama. It's run the ball, run him, throw it deep, play defense. They've won for years doing that. It ain't real hard. And I tell you what, consistent. You start looking at them, man. They're playing pretty good.
Yeah.
Them in Georgia, hey, be pretty good.
They're picking it up, right?
Yes,
they're
sir.
picking it up a lot. And that one game that we bet on, I bet on them earlier in the year. I can't remember who they played. It was like South Alabama or somebody like that, But it was the game they played 3 quarterbacks, and they didn't even play Milroe because they were trying to figure out if he was even the guy.
Yeah.
And after watching that game, I was like, I just got duped, right? Because Saban was just seeing if there was somebody else, and there wasn't. And so I think they finally figured that out. And so I like Alabama money line. Next game I like is I'm on them. I like Washington at home against Utah, and I'm going to give less than a touchdown. The line there is 14, but I'm going to give -6.5. At that, it's -177 odds. It's pretty good. Washington, we played Washington, USC. Washington and USC were in a track meet just like Washington and Oregon. But I said this with Oregon versus Utah. I think Washington and Oregon are very close in teams, and obviously their games that they had showed that. But with Washington, I don't think Utah can score with them. I really don't. And so when it comes down to it, I know Washington's quarterback's been back Utah's quarterback has been back the last 4 weeks. But I think Penix Jr. is your Heisman. That's what I think personally. And especially they're sitting at number 5. And so they're in a situation where they can't mess up, right? They're waiting on somebody to lose this week or the next couple weeks. And I think they'll get it done. I think they'll cover by a touchdown. So -6.5 Washington. Next game I got, it's another highly ranked game. It's Michigan at Penn State. Now, this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to stay within a touchdown, and therefore I'm going to go take Penn State plus 10.5. I think, and that's going to give me a touchdown and a field goal cushion on top of that. Penn State's got a heck of a defense. We saw it against Ohio State. Ohio State, I think, the difference maker whenever Penn State played Ohio State was Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see the NFL player on the field, and it was him. I think if Penn State's quarterback is getting a little bit better every week, and if you go look at Michigan's schedule, they got all this stuff going on with the scouting and all that stuff, but they haven't played anybody.
Nope.
Like nobody. So this is going to be their first game that they really play. So they got Penn State, then they've got somebody in the middle, and then they followed up with Ohio State on the last game of the year. And so this is all kind of rolling together why I'm picking Washington too, because I think Washington they're going to win it out. And then Penn State or Michigan State, one of them could essentially knock each other. Michigan, or if Michigan and Ohio State, one of them will knock each other out. Yep. If Penn State don't do it before then. So I think Michigan's got their hands full and they've had a lot of distractions. Next game I got is another ranked team, top 10 game, which is Ole Miss at Georgia. And Georgia, I like Georgia. I like Georgia a lot, right? And that's why I'm taking Ole Miss plus 14.5, right? Because I know Ole Miss can score. I like the quarterback, the dart guy. I love the running back that they have there, Judkins. He's an animal. So I do think that Ole Miss is going to score, and I have a feeling that Georgia is going to do similar to what they did against Auburn, where they literally were losing a half, 14-6. They were kind of flat when they came out. I'm not saying that Ole Miss is going to beat Georgia, but that's why I'm taking 14.5 points. You get really good odds at 14.5 points. The line I think is closer to 9 or 10, but I want to bump it up to where it's got to be a 3-score game to essentially to lose that game. And that's a tough one to take, but I think that's the right way to do it for the odds and the money. The last game I'm going to take is Texas at TCU. Surprisingly, and I'm taking money line on this game. I just don't think Texas will lose. They're number 7 at TCU. Hell, Colorado beat TCU.
Yeah.
I just think that they will win this game. I'm not going to give a touchdown like the line is, but I'm going to take money line. You take those 5 games. So recapping: Texas money line, Ole Miss plus 14.5, Penn State plus 10.5, Washington minus 6.5, and Alabama money line, and it is essentially 5.5 to 1, right? And so you bet 100, you win 650. And so that's what I like on the college day. Do you disagree with any of them?
Well, I tell you the one that worries me, and I know TCU's not very good, but Texas is just, every week. It's been, they're being Texas, if that makes sense. They're winning, but they scare me a little bit. The rest of them, I think you're on. I think Washington takes care of Utah. Alabama's there. Penn State and Michigan. Michigan hadn't played anybody. Everybody's crowned them. We'll see all that deal. But I think you're right on. And Georgia's coming off a big win over Missouri. That was a back and forth last week, and Ole Miss has been playing well. But with the 14.5, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah, I do too. So, and you're right, Texas. This is kind of TCU's only thing to play for is to upset Texas, but we'll see. That's what I'm rolling with. As we go to NFL, so sorry I'm doing this on my phone. As we go to NFL, here's what I've gotten. So NFL, remember, they're always one-score games.
Oh yeah,
for the most part, right? Sometimes they're 1-point games, and so you're going to hear me say +1 a lot in this little string, but that's because I've been beat by a 1 point a lot, and 1 point will cause a push in some of these matters. And so, taking 6 games on Sunday. So with that, I'm going to take the first game is the Colts at the Patriots. Patriots look awful.
Hey, their offense, man. I'd rather go out and kick rocks and watch that. Mac Jones, and they got receivers out there about like me. I mean, it's
really,
just tough to watch.
Best receivers hurt. The best receivers out, Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter's their best receiver, and I like Hunter Henry. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying as a tight end, he's happened to be the best receiver.
Oh, he is. Got a touchdown last week, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And I like seeing that. But they should have a little bit more talent than that. But anyway, I'm taking Indianapolis Colts at the Patriots +1. The line's only -1.5.
Really?
But I'm going to take +1, and you get really good odds there. Next game is the Browns at the Ravens. Ravens, I think, are finally getting in the groove. I think they found their offense with their new offense coordinator. They're finally starting to get all their playmakers involved. The running backs are running the ball good. Gus Edwards. Now, Cleveland's got incredible defense.
Yes, sir.
But I really think that Cleveland's going to have a hard time scoring as well. They're Watson is.
Yeah, we don't know about that guy. What's the deal with that guy? I mean, it's a shoulder deal, and I actually spoke to Todd Monken, the offense coordinator for the Ravens this week, and I got to watch him, and we were talking. He feels like Lamar's making a lot of progression and where they're at, and he was talking about how he's come in there. They were such a run-heavy order, and he's spreading out and doing some things. And Todd's been around in NFL and, coordinators was at Georgia last year, and he feels really good about their progress where they're at.
I mean, the Ravens have been in a situation where they have had no weapons.
Yeah.
Lamar, literally, you go back and look, and I'm sitting there and you try to name his receivers he's had.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't mean to say trash, but, they just aren't very good receivers. They're like third and fourth strings on other teams. And this year, I think they finally are bringing in some talent around him. I love the rookie, Zay Flowers. I love Odell. I mean, he's Odell, right? But I think he brings something to the table that they haven't had. And I hate that they lost J.K. Dobbins really early, the Ohio State running back, because I think he's an incredible talent. But Gus Edwards is obviously the bus is filling it up. He's getting 2 touchdowns every week. So I think that the Ravens will take that. And so it's Ravens +1 there. Next game we've got. Houston. This is a tough game, but I like it. Houston, Texas at the Bengals, and I'm taking the Bengals +1. That line's really short; it's only like 3, but I'm going to take it +1. I'm buying it to +1 with the Bengals, and I just think Burrows. He looked a lot better.
He's hot, boy. He is. He is hot. He's healthy and hot, and you can see it how that's going. But the Texans. Man, they've done a phenomenal job. If you'd have told me they were having the season they're having, I told you you're crazy. They've done, man. And I didn't see him coming out in the draft. To be honest with all of them, and he has been accurate, and I mean, he looks like a veteran out there.
Well, and they have that other little rookie that's I don't know if he's undrafted or not, but Tank Dell.
Yes.
I mean he's been killing it. They got their running back Pierce. He's healthy. They went and got Singletary. They got that Nico Collins. That dude's an animal.
Yeah.
And all I got to do is throw it his direction, and he go up and get it. So I think they're setting up for success. I just think the Bengals are in a must-win situation because of their start. So I'm going to take the Bengals at home. Next game are the Saints at Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking the Saints +1. They're in a must-win situation. I mean, so are the Vikings, but the Vikings.
Josh Dobbs, but my gosh, and I've been watching football for 50 years. Okay, they're over there taking snaps and just to get used to his cadence. The guy's walked into, he's extremely intelligent, and just be able to pick that up and run around, make some plays, and the poor kid, you got to look at him. He's playing his butt off at the Cardinals, and they just trade him off and get rid of him, because they don't want to win. They're trying to get a quarterback draft pick, send him off to Minnesota. Hey, bud, come on in and win the game for us. Unbelievable.
Well, and I mean, he did play really well. If you go back and look at the games that that he played with the Cardinals, he played really well in every game.
Well,
he was actually competitive. Hell, he beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, I witnessed that.
Giants down 28-0.
Yeah, I witnessed that Cowboys expedition. I mean, well, I'll let that go. I've tried to block that out.
It was terrible. But my point with taking the Saints have their own problems with Derek Carr. They really do. But I think with Alvin Kamara and Thomas and Olave and Taysom Hill, they use the hell out of him. He's like a tight end quarterback. All that stuff. They might as well put him at linebacker too. But point being is they have a really good defense. And I think that the Saints defense will just get the better of Dobbs and Minnesota this week. So Saints +1. Next game are your Cowboys. Cowboys at home versus the Giants. I mean, I don't even know who the Giants quarterback is now. I think it's I forgot his name. But I can't even remember his name. It's
the old boy. He's from Virginia Tech, I think. And I might be way off.
It's escaping me at the moment. But Cowboys are also need to win bad. So I'm giving -4 with the Cowboys to bring the odds in our favor because I expect that to be at least a touchdown game. If it's not, Cowboys got bigger problems again. And then the last game is Monday night game. I'm taking the Bills +1 at home against the Broncos. It's not costing you that much to move it. And so you can take those 6 games. So Colts +1, Ravens +1, Bengals +1, Saints +1, Cowboys -4, Bills +1, and you get 8-1 odds.
Wow.
And so it's really pretty good. So 100 to win 900. I've already got my bets in. If you want to get really, I'll just tell you the math. If you want to get really crazy, take that, parlay it with the college games I gave you, and it will pay you 45 to 1.
Good gracious alive!
Yeah. So we're going to sweep it one of these weekends. It might be my birthday weekend.
That's what I'm talking about. Feeling hot, feeling lucky, man. Feeling lucky, baby. Exactly. I'm feeling lucky and everything. Well, before I get you out of here, talk to me. Oaklawn's about to open up here in a couple of weeks.
Oh man, yeah, we're ready. We're ready. We're making a few tweaks to our tip sheet at Oaklawn this year. I'm the only one out of the 6 to 7 tip sheets that sell at the track, right? I'm the only one that does the add sports to their tip sheet. And I just do a small parlay on there. I'm expanding that a little bit. We're going to do a few little different things, parlay of the days and stuff like that on the race days. And that will be whether it's college basketball. It will roll into baseball season. It will hit every season there is. And so, but with that, we'll have that's starting the first weekend of December. If you're down there, it's the hot pink sheet called Triple Crown. That's our brand. And we're really excited about it this year. With the help of you guys, we've had a lot more people. I've had a lot more people on Instagram and TikTok reach out to me. And so I'm starting to do more with the TikTok, not charging anything on that. It's just more or less just getting the words out, getting people to follow and really hopefully I'm helping y'all's show and getting people to come on and follow y'all's show as well.
Well, it's a hot segment. I can tell you that. I get text messages about them all the time.
Well, good, man. That's what I
like. Triple Crown picking this week. I tell them just watch the show, man. I don't know everything.
Well, that's it. And hey, whenever we get in horse racing season, so here's the way horse racing season is. I'm not going to sit here and hit. The way horses is, you don't hit, 9 and 9, right? It's not the way it works. And so what I'll do on horse racing is I'll give you a best bet. And I may give you like an exact of the day or something like that. And so we will do that as we get into horse racing season. And then if anybody has any questions about how to bet other stuff, like, and they reach out to you, I can always go into detail and explain some of that. But I'm excited about horse racing season. So Oaklawn, if you haven't been to Oaklawn, go to Oaklawn. It is one of the funnest things to do with your significant other. So please go down there and buy the pink sheet, man.
Well, find the pink sheet. Tell everybody where they can find you also on TikTok and all that.
Yep, TikTok and Instagram. Just look up Triple Crown, right? You type in Triple Crown and it will, and I'll pop up. where it's brand new. So, just getting the followers going, but really appreciate all the support. And if you go on there, like and follow, and that just gets it out to more people.
Well, good deal. Well, Derek, I'll get you off here, man. Make sure you get his picks. Make sure Oaklawn's right around the corner. Find the pink sheet and follow him on social media, and we'll get going. We'll be checking your work as we check everybody's work here every week.
All right.
Well,
sounds
man,
good.
Well, good to see you. See you next week, buddy.
All right. See ya.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Man, what a great show, man. Had Coach Z on, Coach Fimple, got playoff time. What a wonderful time of year. It's right around Thanksgiving. We got football going on, basketball starting up. Man, if you're a sports fan, it's a great time of year. Well, tell everybody, man, our subscribes and likes are jumping like crazy. Bray, talk to us where we're be able to find us.
Well, you're right. Our subscriptions have jumped up, which is huge. Allows us to keep on doing this thing. On YouTube, that's where we're pushing the most followers at is Coaches in the Mouth Pod. Just give it a search. You'll be able to find us. You can also find us on X. We're going to do all of our episodes on X as well, which is Coaches Pod is our Twitter handle. Of course, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. We're there too. But YouTube's the big one. And you're right. We're starting to get a little momentum.
Well, you got a lot of momentum. Man, what a great show. Look forward to next week. Got second week playoff games. Maybe talk to Coach Z again, a little bit about Razorback basketball, and have some other guests on. Hey, for Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Bray Cook, hopefully the Mouth will be back in studio. We'll see you next week, and have a wonderful evening.